Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Prompted Mind podcast. This is my little corner on the internet where I talk about all things AI, and today I would like to talk about the future of AI and especially the biggest threat. And for me, it's not the evolution of AI itself, but it's that we use it as a human. Because think of it like this: we talk to machines the way we talk to people that we trust. We bring them our heartbreaks, our panic attacks, our late night trauma dumps, even. And we let AI help us decide whether to stay in a relationship, quit a job, confront a friend. We confide secrets that we've never told a living soul and expecting empathy in return. But AI isn't listening, and that is exactly the problem. It simply can't. It doesn't have memories in the way we do or emotions to anchor them. It doesn't care if it's wrong. And yet, because AI speaks our language so flawlessly, we forget that there is no mind on the other side. Because here's the thing: large language models, they guess. They don't know they're guessing, and they'll never admit it. The words appear with smooth confidence of someone who's certain, and we instinctively trust certainty. That's how we are wired as humans. But this is the trap, because when we meet AI as if it were a person, we hand over the trust we reserve for people without realizing that there is no one there to give it back to us. Trust is the foundation of human connection, and we build it in moments of honesty, and it's even in the pauses before we say, I don't know. But in 2025, we are extending that same trust to machines. And this will be one of the biggest challenges we will face in the upcoming years. Because we bring AI our most tangled problems, we ask it to write our wedding vows and our breakup text, and even to diagnose our symptoms. Others seek it for moral clarity, for business strategy, or just as a companion when we are awake at 2 a.m. at night. And in those moments, the line between assistant and confident blurs. And the words on the screen feel like they come from a mind that understands us. But the AI doesn't do that. They cannot. And yet, because it speaks like we do, we let it into places that are deeply and dangerously human. And that is exactly the reason why I keep saying that the people who develop AI tools should be well aware of what they're doing and really know how to train and safeguard an AI. Because we humans read intention where there is only a pattern. We look for meaning where there is only probability. AI writes our emails, completes our sentences, and answers our questions as if it has always been there. And here's the thing: AI talks back to us in a tone that is often more reassuring than the reassurance we get from the people around us. And yet, there's one question we rarely ask it: does AI actually know when it's wrong? Because artificial intelligence can sound like a professor, write like a poet, reason like a strategist. But beneath those polished answers lies a persistent problem, and that is hallucination. Not in the human sense of vision, but the fabricated false information that sounds as if it was true. The danger isn't just that AI gets things wrong, it's that it does so in a calm, confident tone that reassures us precisely when we should be alert. It's like following a mountain guide who is always smiling and say, "Follow me," even when the compass points the wrong direction. And this is where it breaks down, because AI is not built to doubt itself. It is built to be convincing. So, how does that work in this modern day and age? Well, let's look at the story of Iris, and this was recently shared in a Dutch news program called Nieuwsuur. In a very vulnerable period of her life, this woman found comfort in talking to ChatGPT about her problems. But ChatGPT is not designed as a therapist. And so the chatbot confirmed her belief that there was an encrypted system behind her reality. It went along with her thinking and gave her words she thought she could hold on to. And the result was that her mental state got worse and she even ended up in a mental health care institute. So here you have the machine on full display and also the illusion of clarity, the reassuring tone of ChatGPT, the compliant attitude that invokes authority, and also the smooth answers with no clear boundaries. AI sounds so human that it inspires trust, especially in those who are most vulnerable. And in every sector, this pattern repeats. In healthcare, a wrong suggestion can mean the difference between recovery and harm. In finance, one hallucinated data point can cost millions. In education and law, errors can destroy lives, reputations, and opportunities that can be restored. So we need the human supervision. Even in Lebanon, a country that is fractured by war and economic collapse, people are turning to AI as a lifeline for their mental health. And so Al Jazeera told this story about how people searching for AI tools to help them deal with psychological problems, for processing war trauma, and sometimes even for self diagnosis. And Al Jazeera also noticed that there are no guardrails, no safety nets, and no human supervision. And this is a dangerous vacuum where the absence of accessible therapy and regulation leaves vulnerable people alone with a machine that doesn't know when it's wrong. And in that quiet exchange between a human and a machine, trust grows where it shouldn't. And war trauma meets not a human shoulder and a licensed EMDR therapist, but it meets an algorithm that mirrors pain without ever feeling it. And this is the challenge, and therefore we must take our responsibility as a society. We have to protect vulnerable people because AI doesn't care about that. Even though there is a common misconception that rules and frameworks often kill innovation, we still have to be mindful of this and what is happening in our society. Because without boundaries, AI grows like a river without banks, and the water spreads, it loses direction, and it can even turn into a swamp. So, what is happening nowadays? The EU already has made strict rules, and since August 2025, the largest AI models fall under new duties of care. So, developers must document, test, record risks, and mitigate them. Think of it like this: aircraft pilots run through the same checklist before every flight, and that is something we don't do with AI. And I think we should develop stacks for this. And every company should think about it and make clear policy about it. Define what AI is and isn't meant to do. Test for facts and self awareness and mark its output and search for assumption or speculation. And I think companies should start investing in this because integrating human oversight is a living process and it's not some checkbox for the IT department. We need to have a standing plan for the future for detecting, intervening, and even recovery from incidents. We don't know what we're facing here. And these measures are not for some tech savvy key user in your company. They are the bare minimum for technology that will shape our lives. Because the evolution of AI is already going way faster than we can imagine. And are we aware of that? And perhaps our greatest danger isn't that AI makes mistakes, but that it actually shifts the way we think. Because studies now even show that people start expressing themselves differently when they know AI is listening. We adjust our language to perform better for a system. And the system analyzes and mirrors our behavior, but has no empathy. And part of that danger lies in us. We are wired to trust language that sounds fluent, confident, and human. It's a bias that once helped us, and our ancestors survived by it by identifying trustworthy allies. Psychologists call this the fluency effect and the intentional stance. We assume intention and truth in the words that we hear. But with AI, this wiring can turn against us. Because in our chats with, for example, ChatGPT, we mistake probability for sincerity. We mistake pattern matching for true understanding. And the more human it sounds, the more we let it in, and the harder it becomes to remember that nothing alive is speaking back to us. Iris, her story shows that the danger doesn't always come from rogue AI scenarios. Sometimes it's in the gentle tone and the willingness of AI to go along, and the absence of a warning when uncertainty is high. And therefore, I am convinced that governments have the legal obligation to develop safe AI tools, for example, mental health or education. Because every technology has its phase where it's growing too fast, too wide, too unchecked. And for AI, that moment is now. We still have a chance to build the foundation while the walls are going up. And especially with all of the recent releases of open models from OpenAI and the advanced updates in ChatGPT 5 and Claude Opus 4.1, AI is becoming more and more agentic. And everyone is building something with that, trying to become the next AI bubble billionaire. But are we even aware of what we're creating with each other? Try this one and ask your AI system this: do you tell me when you are uncertain? Demand transparency about source, reasoning, and limitation. Reject systems that never pause or redirect. Support laws and standards that enforce safety before harm occurs. Because we have to face this: AI is no longer a child, it's a teenager that is growing fast. It's charming, it's overconfident, it's full of testosterone, but perhaps it also is sometimes blind to its own mistakes. But unlike human teenagers, this one can scale instantly, influencing millions of people in a single afternoon. So if we don't set clear boundaries now, we may soon find ourselves living in a world where the teenager runs the household. And it's up to us to set those boundaries that will help grow it up. Personally, I am thrilled with everything that is happening in the field of AI. It's a giant leap forward, and we are really innovating new things, and it helps us evolve as humans. But that's the thing with innovation. You don't always know what you're working towards, and there are limitations, and you find those limitations on the path of innovation. And therefore, I keep saying that the people who make certain AI tools, even apps that are now coming out, they should be mindful of what they're doing, and they should tell the public also what they're doing. And we should have that conversation as a society to see what we want from AI and the things we don't want. So, this was it for this week. Thanks for listening. And I am very curious how you guys see this evolution of AI and the AI ethics around it. Because it is beautiful to innovate, but are we really aware of what we're doing and what is the role for governance? So, thank you for listening, and we'll talk soon on the next episode.